Alright everybody, settle in, grab a snack, because this could be a long video. I am taking a look at Endless Space, which is a turn-based strategy game, so I guess, between this and Warlock, it's been a pretty good season for turn-based strategy games, but this one, is not a sword and sorcery style, with, the magical elements and the Civ elements, I guess, as well. This one is built entirely in space, and it's about building your empire and expanding your empire, by mining and conquering enemy galaxies and so on. There is a lot to this game. This is an exceptionally dense and kind of layered strategy game that requires a lot of thought and a lot of analysis, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. I'm actually having quite a good time with it so far. Before I get started, should mention that this is definitely a work in progress. If you look down in the bottom left corner, this is an alpha. And you can get access to this alpha by pre-ordering the game on Steam, which is, I believe, $22.50 right now, but it's going to be $25 normally. So, as in the Warlock Master of the Arcane video, I am going to start a new game of Endless Space to kind of show off a little bit of how things work at the very beginning, and then I have another saved game that's much further along, maybe 3 or 4 hours in, that I'm going to jump into to show you more of the still early game, but maybe middle game, towards the late game, I don't know. And the first thing I'm going to do is turn up the tutorial, because there is a lot of tutorialization in this game, and it is required, but hopefully I'll be able to explain it fairly well myself. So when we start a new game, I should also mention there is a multiplayer component, but it is disabled for the alpha. The alpha only has the single-player game, and it is missing a couple of factions as well that are going to be in the finished product. So we are Dr. Steve Brule here. We can choose which empire we would like to be. I'm going to be the United Empire, and as you can see, every faction has its own unique kind of perks. So as the United Empire, we get Enway fusion plants, which gives us eponymous technology. Obviously, that's the name. We unlock Enway fusion plants, which gives us certain advantages. We get things like strong alloys, which gives us plus 40% health on ships. But we're dust impaired, which means we get plus 25% abilities dust cost on hero. Dust is basically like money in this game. And if we took something like the Sophons, we would have feeble warriors, so minus 10 defense on our star systems, but we would get, things like isolation shields, etc., etc. I'm not going to go through all of this because, again, it is exceptionally complicated, but just know that there are strengths and weaknesses to each class. So I'm going to start with the United Empire. We're going to be playing against 3 AI competitors here, who I should probably come across soon. Size is small, age is normal, I think that's all good, so we will just get started here. And this should load up. Now, this is kind of an amalgam of turn-based strategy and real-time combat, because the combat that we get into in the game is it's sort of turn-based, but it's more phase-based. But anyway, we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. Alright, so this is our star system, Shaddai, which is, my favorite New Age singer. And if we look at our star system here, you can see there's 3 colonies within it. One of them has been colonized, that's Shaddai 1. Shaddai 2 we cannot colonize because we can't colonize deserts yet. And Shaddai 3 we cannot colonize because we can't colonize lava yet. Now the way you progress in the game, if I back out of this, is by moving from star system to star system. So instead of Shaddai, we'll move on to this one, which is a white dwarf, and we'll discover if there's any colonizable planets there. You can look down here as well. There's red supergiants, there's a binary star system, so we'll explore all of these and try to find planets. And each planet has its own unique characteristics, like, for example, if you look at Shaddai here, it's got 9 food, 3 industry, 9 dust, and 6 science, which is actually pretty solid. But if you look at, like, these other planets, look at Shaddai 3 that we can't colonize, it's got no food, I mean, it is all lava, no science, no dust, but fairly good industry. So every planet has, like, unique kind of properties, and these will affect your empire in different ways. So the 4 things that we have, as I've mentioned, food, industry, science, and dust. So they call that FIDS. Food, industry, dust, science. Anyway, so on our first turn here, we have a lot of stuff to take care of. One of the things the game is really good about, like Warlock actually, I'm going to be comparing those 2 games a lot, just because they came out recently, there's not a whole lot of similarity apart from the genre, is that they kind of give you prompts down here in the bottom right to tell you just what the hell you should be doing. So here they tell you, alright, there's a new hero available, so a new hero is ready to be recruited, a new hero is ready to be recruited, and a new hero is ready to be recruited. Let's go check out the hero screen quickly. I warn you, there is going to be like probably 5 to 10 minutes of me just talking here so you can understand what the hell is going to be happening when I actually start playing. So we have all these heroes that are available to us now, And heroes have unique properties as well. For example, if we inspect Faruda 1A Turgis, you can see he's got his own little hero description and lore here. But what I'm really interested in is these two things right here, Adventurer and Administrator, that tell me kind of what role I would like this hero to fulfill. So as an Adventurer, you know, maybe I want to put him as the head of a scout fleet or something. But as an Administrator, maybe he would be good as a governor for some kind of star system. And every hero has unique effects, depending on the role that you slot them in. So I've kind of alluded to this, but the way you work with heroes is eventually you hire them. I don't have enough dust right now. And when you hire them, you can assign them a role. So I could, let's say I hire Faruda 1A Turgis here, and I see that he's an administrator. I can say, well, you know, an administrator might mean that he is a good governor. So I could hire him here, and then make him the governor of the Shaddai system. And when he's governor of the Shaddai system, if I load him up again here, and inspect, you'll see that he'll get plus 8% food and plus 8%, I think that's industry, from the star system, which is kind of cool. But you can also make heroes the captains of fleets as well. So if I made Faruda 1A Targus the captain of my fleet, he would get plus 16% damage minimum, plus 16% damage maximum, etc., etc. So heroes are kind of a cool little way that you can have maybe these personalities within your empire. So the game isn't just like entirely nameless drones. Heroes also level up and gain other skills, but we'll talk about that later, you know, as we get to it. Alright, so that's heroes and the basic interface I think covered. Let's take a look at research. Now, there is a technology tree, you know, like in a lot of games like this, and there's 4 different categories. So we've got galactic warfare, which is basically like armor and weapons, diplomacy and trading, so this is things like discovering alien technology or discovering alien races, and then being able to negotiate with them. We have at the bottom, exploration and expansion. This usually gives us perks that allow us to colonize new types of planets. So I'm going to be focusing a lot on this tree, because if you go down here, you can see, okay, first one gives us colonize tundra. So if we find a planet with tundra on it, we can colonize it now. And colonize arid, and later there will be like colonize desert somewhere around here. Colonize desert, there it is, sustainability. So we know we have a desert planet in our system. We can't colonize right now, so let's start with Arid Epigenetics. Oh my god, I apologize. I should know that considering, you know, I have education in biology. So the research cost on this is 40, and we currently have 6.4 research per turn, so it's going to take us 7 turns. What I really like about this game is that it doesn't dumb down the kind of technology that you come across. Like, they could just call this Colonize Arid. They don't have to call it Arid Epigenetics. But instead, they don't, like, treat their users like the users are idiots. Like, if you go down to, like, this later stuff, non-baryonic shielding, unlocks Dreadnought and psychological insulation. They could have just called this upgrade Unlock Dreadnought, but instead there's, like, kind of this facade of science on it, and I don't know how legitimate it is, but it's kind of nice. It feels like they're treating you with respect. And, of course, our other one here is Applied Sciences, which basically gives us general science upgrades that may help us in the military or may help us you know, just with upgrading our planets and stuff. So anyway, that's the research panel. We have diplomacy as well, but I'm not going to talk about that too much here. Just know that it looks a lot like Star Wars. We haven't encountered any alien races yet, though. And the last thing we have is our fleet. So if I click on my fleet here, this is all we have right now. We have Beta Fleet and Alpha Fleet. So Beta Fleet currently has a colonizer in it. Alpha Fleet has a scout. So what we will do is take our scouts and maybe right-click on this planet over here, this star system, and try to discover if there's any colonizable planets, and indeed there are. So let's open up Orm. You can see Garden of Eden. I'm not actually sure what that is, but there is a colonizable planet, Orm 2. So let's grab our Beta Fleet, which has a colony ship in it, and we will start to fly this over here. It may take more than 1 turn, though. Excellent. Okay, that's our first turn done. I think I've done enough explanation that you will probably understand what's to come. So let's end this first turn. I'm going to take a sip of water because I've been talking like crazy. And then we will just send our colonizer further in here, and then we will be able to colonize the second planet. Now, as you colonize, you can see it kind of expands the reach of your empire. Like right now, Shaddai has, like this red circle is the reach of my empire, my influence, you could say. And Orm, when it first starts, is not really a colony, it's just an outpost. So as we grow its population, which you can see, you know, on each planet, like population right now is only 1, as we grow the population, its industry, food, actually food might go down, but industry, dust production, and research will grow for the most part, and this will grow our influence within the star system and will expand our empire even more. So we've colonized this now. What we should do that I didn't do before is talk about construction. So every star system has its own ability to construct things, and usually, if you look down in the very bottom right here, I could construct like a heavy isotope refinery to increase industry, or I can construct some ships right now, like Scout, which would take 15 turns, or colony, which would take 38 turns. So right now, what I'm instead going to focus on is exploiting the planet a little bit. Now, the way you exploit a planet is by choosing one of these 4 exploitation options. Now, one of them gives you extra food, one of them gives you extra industry, one of them gives you extra dust, and one of them gives you extra research. So we're going to turn this into like an industrial wasteland, because I want to be able to produce ships here quickly. So this will give us +1 industry per lava, per person on lava. I don't think we have any lava here anyway, and +1 per person on planet. This will allow us to construct ships a little bit faster and hopefully colonize the galaxy a little bit quicker. And also, let's go to Orm. So on Orm, we'll do some exploitation here. What do we want? Usually you want to exploit something that is either going to like play to your country's or your planet's strength or play to its weakness. So my strength on Orm 2, I don't really have a strength. I mean, dust and food production are both high. You know what? I'm going to go for industry for now. Again, I want to pump out as many ships as possible. Not just colonizers, but I need defenders and scouts to be able to explore the galaxy and, of course, also engage in some combat, which hopefully we'll see. And we got something here. Great things have small beginnings. All right. David 8 from Prometheus. So that's just telling us that we have colonized our first planet, and we'll end our first turn. Sorry, our second turn. And now shit is still being constructed, so you can see like we've still got 8 turns left on this colonial industrial base. And in Orm 2, we have 6 turns left, so they've got a little bit more industry production there. You know, in the meantime, let's take a look at our fleet here. We still have 1 scout, which we will use to travel to this planet over here. And it might take us more than 1 turn to get there. So we'll end our turn and just continue going here. I want to play, like, you know, maybe 20 minutes of a new game before we get into a different game. Or, like, my game that's a little bit further along now. Because otherwise, the infrastructure is, or the interface is going to look incomprehensible to you. So let's go to our Hero Academy here, because I do have 40 dust, as you can see in the top left. So I can hire a hero. Who do I want? This guy has food production and industry. What does Kira Uranev have? Pilot and corporate, plus 14% dust on star system, and plus 14% research. That's pretty good. And what about Drogon Freeman? Plus 8% research, plus 8% gold. So this is probably more of a like a fleet commander. And how about Faruda 1A Turgus? 8% food and 8% industry. You know what? I'm going to hire Kira Uranev because of her research and gold production. So I'll hire her first. And now I'm basically out of dust. And then we will look at our heroes. And we'll assign her a role. So I can either assign her to a fleet. So I could assign her to be like the leader of our scout troop there. Or assign her to a system. And I am going to assign her to Orm, because she is going to increase the industrial capacity there, which is good. So now that Orm will get certain benefits from her being the commander. But otherwise, we're just going to end our turn. We've discovered our next galaxy or star system over here, Aldebaran, but there is no colonizable planets because it's all Arctic or tundra or barren. But we'll discover things later that will allow us to do that. And there is a pirate ship over here, which will probably be able to destroy me. But at least we'll be able to see some combat. So I'm going to end my turn and basically just let it happen. And hopefully I'll be able to explain the combat well enough. Well, anyway, first we got 2 things to deal with here. We will hire 1 more hero because we have the cash. So let's hire Drogon Freeman. And I believe if we inspect him, he has some plus 4% damage. Oh, that's not that good, actually. Expected that to be better. But we'll assign him to our Alpha Fleet because they're about to get into some combat, so they can use any benefit they can get. And I guess we can hire Faruda A. Targus as well. And what does he get? I want to look at his plus 16% damage. Like, that would be way better. Let's assign him to the Alpha Fleet. Can I dismiss this guy from his fleet? Unassign. I probably can't because I just hired him this turn. And our research is done. So Arid Epigenetics is done. We'll dismiss that and go to our research panel. And what I was looking for was sustainability, which allows us to colonize the desert. So I'll queue that up for next. And of course, remember, as I go back to Shaddai here, now, when we finish that next research, I'll be able to colonize Shaddai 2, which will give us a little bit more industry, a little bit more food production. So we should get into some combat here soon. I believe that pirate fleet coming in here is going to indicate that we are going to get into some combat. Unless, I believe so anyway. I'm just continually ending my turn, basically. We're waiting for research to finish. Yes, okay. So we are approaching the enemy fleet now. This means they have initiated a battle. And the way battles take place is kind of interesting. And I hope that I can explain it well enough within the actual combat itself. So we can either have it play out automatically, which is no fun, but, you know, might save you a lot of time because it seems like a long game. Or manually, so I'm going to do it manually. And I will take another sip of water as we go through this loading screen. So the way combat works is like 50% real-time, 50% turn-based. So there's 5 phases. We have arrival phase, long range, medium range, melee, and then the reporting phase. And the way we do things here is we select kind of a card that is going to allow us to do something during these phases. So I'm going to use a tactics card for the first one. Now every card has its own unique benefits and drawbacks. It's kind of like almost like a rock paper scissors. So my card actually had a huge advantage over what they did, and I'm rushing it a little bit because I have to choose these actions. But you can see, if you look at the card, each one has certain properties that it does, as well as certain things that it counters. So I'm just going to take defensive for my second level here. And it's very much like a rock paper scissors type battle, but of course there is just an element of it's not just like, oh, I got it again, wow. It's not just like, one second. It's not just like, oh, you played a card that's better than mine, you're gonna win this battle. Because obviously there's other elements at play. Like, is their fleet stronger? Do they have like 20 ships compared to my one ship? Then beating them on cards isn't gonna matter. But this is kind of a way that you can influence the battle, in and of itself, apart from the actual strength of the fleet. So it's not just like risk. So we both got offense for our melee phase. It looks like this is going to be a draw, because neither of our ships are going to go down. So battles can either be a win, a loss, or a draw, and at the end of every battle, you'll get a report on what happens. It looks like we lost a fair amount of health, they lost a fair amount of health as well. I would say that was pretty much exactly 50-50, although they might have gotten us a little bit more. But remember, they're using a much stronger ship than us, because I'm just using a scout, not a, like a defender, or a destroyer, or a dreadnought or something. So there's our draw. Nobody's happy, we're both a little bit injured, and our report should be coming soon. So yeah, the battle system is kind of unique and different than the game itself. I have a feeling that a lot of people might not be into. What am I saying? A lot of people might not be that into the battle system, but that's okay because you can just do it. Have it play out automatically like a more traditional turn-based game. Okay, what do we have here? We got a new hero. Oh no, our hero has gained a level. So this was the guy that was in the combat earlier. So we give him new abilities, like we can give him +3 labor, which has certain effects, but God forbid that I actually know what I'm talking about here, because this is, like I said, fairly dense, detailed game. +3 wit, so our heroes have attributes here. +3 offense or +3 defense. You know what? I think we need +3 defense here to help us out. So we'll dismiss that. There is our reports. We did 288 damage to them. They did 307 damage to us. So I guess they got the better of us there. And our industrial production has been completed in Orm. So now we can choose, we can maybe make a colony ship to help ourselves out. And colonize these other planets, because we can now colonize this arid area. Or we could choose to make like a heavy isotope refinery to improve our industry, which actually might be for the best. It's going to take 7 turns. Actually, that's exactly what I'm going to do. So I'll play a few more turns out before... Can I move my fleet? I want to move my fleet away from this nightmare. Yes, I can. Awesome. I don't care about Aldebaran. I can't colonize anything there anyway, but as I said, I'll play a few more turns here before I get into my real game that I've been playing and hopefully show you guys a little bit more of the later game. Again, not late game, but later on in the game anyway. So I'm just basically ending my turn here because I have nothing to do beyond getting my productions finished. What would happen if we put our scout in the hangar? I wonder if that heals our ship, because right now it is hurting. Alright, something is finished here. Shaddai has finished its industry, and we're going to do exactly the same thing. We'll build a heavy isotope refinery to increase our industry. Basically, the way I play the game is, like, first, get the infrastructure in place. So, like, get a lot of industry, get a lot of food production, get a lot of research, get as much population as you can, and then start pumping out ships and exploring the galaxy. I'm not sure if that's a good strategy or a bad strategy, but it is what it is. It's what I've been doing so far. So we should have our construction on Orm finishing fairly soon. Spend a lot of time in this game just looking at, like, this screen right here and kind of managing through the sidebar. Alright, Orm has finished its industry. And now, remember, it was going to take us 13 turns to make a colony ship before. Now it takes us 5, so that is way better. We'll queue up a colony and a defender, because we will need to, have something to protect our colony once we create it. And our hero has leveled up, and she is more of an administrator type, so let's make her +3 labor, +3 wit. We don't need offense or defense. Let's go with +3 wit, because that will make her wit even stronger. We'll play to her strengths. Then we will end our turn. And it's possible that we might not even come across any factions. Like the people I fought on that last planet over here, or this star system in Aldebaran, those were just pirates. Like those weren't actual, like another AI player. It's kind of like the barbarians in a Civ game, or the monsters in Warlock Master of the Arcane. So our research has been finished on sustainability. So now maybe it would be good for us to take a look at the military pack, or path, and pick something that would give us greater defense or greater damage, I guess. So we got ion torpedoes, high isotope plating, or high isotope slugs, offensive chaff. Let's go with ion torpedoes and high isotope plating. Now, one thing I haven't talked about a lot is the military aspect, and the reason for this is that I'm honestly not that familiar with it. I haven't touched it too much so far. I've mostly just gone with like default ships, but it's worth noting if I go in here, there are ship designs that you have. So let's say I open up my Defender design here, and you can see all of the modules that have been associated with it. So I've got flak, I've got missiles, beams, shields, deflectors, kinetic energy, which is like bullets basically, and armor, etc., etc. But what you can do is like modify your ship designs and decide, oh, I don't want flak here anymore. Let's instead put layered hulls here, or take layered hulls off. So you can modify your ship design to a certain extent. I haven't touched this so far because I'm still like getting into just the overall part of the game, but it seems kind of neat that you can basically customize your ships, you know, as you deem appropriate for perhaps what your, you know, the problems that you might face. So I'm going to close out of this so I don't mess up my current Defender design, because as far as I know, that's going to be fine for me. And we will just end our turn and continue moving on. Maybe we'll get to turn 20 before we finish here, because things are starting to slow down a little bit. We'll just pick up like a random hardened framing and stealth construction, science upgrade, and continue ending our turn. I'm going to take a look at my fleet here. Oh, that's not what I wanted to do. Sometimes the interface is a little bit incomprehensible for me, I'll admit. So our scout is, I think, regenerating health in the hangar here, if you look at him. If we wanted him to leave, we could just create a fleet. But we want him to stay here right now until he gets a little bit more health, because otherwise he's just going to be torn apart by pirates. So again, we'll just continue staring at Shaddai here. We are waiting for our enemies to make their turns. Alright, Orm has finished its colony ship and is working on a defender next. So let's dismiss that. Maybe this will be the last thing I do, to just kind of demonstrate how you do expansion. So you start out with one colonizer. You need a colony ship to colonize a planet, of course. But you have to build more as you move along here. So I have this colony ship. I will create fleet. Exit out. Now we have our fleet here, which consists of only the colony ship. We will use this to colonize Orm 2, which is going to give us a lot of dust if you look at this planet. Yeah, 5 dust per turn, which is, I guess, not as much as Orm 2, but, sorry, we colonized Orm 1, but it's not as much as Orm 2, but it's still, you know, fairly solid for an undeveloped planet. And actually, we're going to make this defender in one more turn, and then we will produce some exploitation here. Colonial exchange to increase our dust production even more. And we'll just end our turn and see if anything crazy happens. If not, I will load up my other game. Hopefully it's still there and they haven't auto-saved over it. Orm is finished doing the defender, which is cool, so I'll just very quickly create a fleet. If I can click on this, there we go. Create fleet for my defender, so he's just going to be hanging out here, giving me a visual representation of kind of the army that I have here. Hero leveled up again. Yeah, why not +1 to like all attributes? That's fine. And we'll dismiss this. And I will exit back to the main menu, because I think that's pretty much, it's a good tutorialization of the way things work in the early game. You can spend like an hour or two in this phase where you like think it's just you in the galaxy, and you're just like colonizing planets, or colonizing star systems, I should say, and eventually you will come across some more opposition, which is the point that I am at in my other game. So let's load up. Oh my god, you gotta be kidding me, it auto-saved over my other game. That is so shitty. It's funny, because when I tried to save my other game yesterday, all it had were autosaves. Like, I'll show you right now if I go to save game. Oh, that's where you do it. Okay, so I'm just an idiot. I could have changed the name for my saves yesterday, but I didn't. Well, anyway, we'll make this Let's Look at Endless Space. That's my bad, actually. I think that's kind of a weird interface to have. I should have saved it better yesterday, but oh well. So we'll just continue on with this, and I'll try to expand as fast as possible to kind of show you guys just what the heck is up here. So what do we have? We got construction going here. Let's just end a bunch of turns, and we will deal with the prompts as they come. Because you can play a little bit faster and a little bit less methodical than I do. So we'll make some more colonizers, because I believe if I look back out here, yeah, there's a planet on Shaddai that I can colonize. And we'll make just a bunch of, like, colonizers and defenders. Like, we'll have this area here be, like, our industrial center. So we'll skip ahead some turns. Research is finished. And I'm going to continue doing some research down here to colonize more planets. So this unlocks endothermic structures. This unlocks colonize Arctic. This unlocks colonize Tundra. I think I had a lot of Tundra planets in my system, so we'll go with that. And end our turn. Now, if we go back and look at Orm quickly... Wow, that was quick. What is this now? Unlocks Destroyer. Colonize Arctic. Colonize Arctic, I think, is what we want next, because then we can go to... eventually colonize lava, and I've got a lot of lava. Moon Survey, that's pretty cool as well. So we'll go with that next. And if you look at Orm, like, it should be producing ships like crazy. Yeah, like, colony ships only take 6 to produce now, which is actually, I think, a little bit, it might even be a little bit longer than it was before. But anyway, we'll just continue with things here. Shaddai is now doing something else with its time. How much colonizer takes 10 turns on Shaddai? Well, I should point out as well, that research that I've been doing doesn't just like feed into ships or something. It also feeds into improvements that you can get for your system. So if I look back in here, remember before I only had like hardened isotope reactors or whatever, but now I have hardened framing, which improves my ship experience and decreases their costs, and I also have stealth construction, which improves my defense and reduces my upkeep costs. But I don't really want either of those right now. I guess I'll just get to work on producing my own fleet here with Shaddai. And we'll continue onwards here, and then I'll start doing some expansion, because I really want to come across some more enemies and show off kind of the auto-combat. Alright, so our colonizer's done there. We'll create a fleet on Orm. Get back, and our hangars here. So we have 2 fleets now. One has the colonizer, one has the defender. Let's merge those, because obviously we want colonizer and defender to kind of both be together to protect them. Because, like, you can see Shaddai has a pretty big sphere of influence here. And around Orm, we can see some of what's going on, but there could be a pirate ship, like, right in the middle here that I don't know about because I don't have vision of that right now. So I gotta always make sure that my ships are protected when they're doing their traveling. And luckily, it doesn't seem like there is. But again, there could be a pirate ship, like, just outside of us on this area here or on this area here that we have to deal with. But in the meantime, this ship is gonna take 2 turns to get here, this fleet, I should say. And actually, you know what I've failed to do is assign Faruda Targus to something. We'll assign him to Shaddai, because there's no hero there now, and that should improve production. So we'll just send our fleet here. We should be able to colonize Shaddai 2. And then actually what we should do is remove the colonizer and start doing some exploitation here. And we got very limited food, but a ton of industry, so let's improve the industry. Again, play to our strengths here, and then we'll back out of this and put our defender back in the queue, because obviously we need some defense. Congratulations on the first settlement on an advanced and difficult planet type. I guess that would be arid or desert. It is a doorway to greater riches and, of course, greater risks. That is definitely true. So we'll end our turn here. We have completed the construction of a defender on Shaddai. So let's take the scout and the defender and select all. Create fleet with them. Go back here. Worth noting, it took me a long time to get used to the interface in this game. Like, it's a little bit unintuitive, I would say. We'll just click and drag to create our beta fleet here. And then let's get our beta fleets to start doing a little bit of exploring. So we got scouts and defenders. I should be safe now, and I'm hoping that we'll come across, some, like, another AI player, basically. But I'm really I'm disappointed that my other game wasn't working, because I had a pretty vast empire. And I'm actually kind of pissed that I lost the save, because I want to use that save in the future. But I had like this vast empire, and I was bumping into enemy civilizations, which was awesome, because now the diplomacy actually factored in, which it doesn't seem to factor in too much for like the first 50 turns. But anyway, we'll, I guess, send our scouts and defenders out here. And I'll just be kind of an asshole, and if I come across anybody, just attack them immediately. We'll go to this red supergiant. Might take us a couple turns to get there. Keep ending our turn, hoping we discover some pirates so I can get engaged in some combat. The reason I actually want to get engaged in some combat is because the enemies that I've encountered at this point in the game usually only have like 1 ship each in their fleets. And I have this kind of enormous fleet here that would be better. Alright, now we can colonize Arctic, which is awesome, and probably opens up a little bit more colonization where we are. And let's get this, endothermic structures, or total hull integrity seems better for defense. And then we'll be able to colonize lava, which will give us huge industry, because apparently lava is where you want to put all your freaking mines. But apparently colonizing the Arctic doesn't give us any extra colonizable planets in Orm or Shaddai. But anyway, we'll just continue moving on here. Continue moving on here. Both of these planets have new things to do. Orm, in fact, built another colonizer. Little risky, though, because I don't have any defenders left. So we'll just hang out and maybe explore this star system here and see if there's colonizable planets here. And there are, on Fidus. So was it Orm that finished that colonizer? It's just called a colony, but colonizer seems way better. So we'll wait for that defender to be finished, and then we'll add it to this fleet, and maybe send some people to colonize in this direction. But in the meantime, let's abandon Fidus and go check out this binary star system. So as you can see, oh, there's an enemy right there. Cool. That's weird. I've never seen a ship like that before. We will actually point our ship in this direction now, so I can go talk to them. You can see how the map really opens up. Like, at first you think you see Shaddai, and then you see like these 4 lines going from it, or 5 lines going from it, and you're like, oh, okay, so there's only like 5 different areas. But then as you go to that area, like you go from 1 line to Fidus, and then Fidus has 6 lines coming off of it, and each one of these is going to have more lines coming off of it. I wouldn't be surprised if a game of Endless Space from start to finish takes like a ton of time to play. And to be honest, that's great, but it also kind of worries me from a multiplayer perspective. Like, this could be like a huge time investment, more so than Risk. And you know how people get mad at Risk when they start to lose. Oh, that enemy ship has gone out of here. It's kind of a shame. Our hero is leveled up. I don't really care what I put our points into. Oh, there's the ships right there. Whoa. So we have encountered some new aliens here. Get some defenders. You know what? We'll make another defender. And then I will actually want to go this way. I want to talk to these jabronis here in green. Who is that? Sophan's enemy fleet. Now, the cool thing about the game is that, well, I guess it's not that cool or unique, really, but I like it. Even though it's a trope of basically every turn-based strategy game, is when you encounter an enemy, you're at cold war with them automatically, which basically means we're not friends, but we're not going to attack each other until someone annoys someone else. And there's 3 kind of stages you can be at with an enemy, depending on how they feel about it. You could be cold war, which is by default, or you can be at hot war, I guess, or just war, which is when you declare war on them, either by, an act of aggression or by negotiating into war, or you can be at total peace with them. So let's do some diplomacy, actually. And I've encountered 2 groups here, and you can see the snowflake. That indicates we are at Cold War. Let's talk to our Sophan friends here, the green ones, so we can look at how they feel about us. We're neutral with them. We got a 201.1 score. We have no deals, and we probably won't be able to make a deal this early. But right now they feel 100% neutral to us. Let's see if we can declare, or we can ask for something. Probably because we have no negotiation research, we probably can't ask for anything. Let's go check out what we got here. Unlock sustainable farms, alien grafting, animalia, xenotourism, extreme option exchange, maybe that's something. Post-op analyticals, honestly, I don't know. A lot of this game is still incomprehensible to me, despite the fact that I've spent a lot of time with it. You know what? Let's make sure these guys are not at Cold War with us. They have 1 ship in their fleets. Is probably bad. That's telling us to be, cautious with our diplomacy. But instead, I'm just going to attack them. And it looks like I have a pretty great chance for success here, so let's just do it automatically. And the computer will play out this battle itself, so we don't have to watch it. And we won easily. HP lost 42, HP dealt 1033. Crazy. So now the green guys are probably a little bit more pissed off of this. Let's check this out. How you feel about us now, green guys? Still neutral. Maybe that'll change on the next turn, is my guess. Deals with Sophons. Okay, that's nothing. And I think I should just continue to be like the world's, or the galaxy's greatest douchebag, but we'll see. Got some more defenders finished, it looks like. And what do we have here? Faruda Turgis has gained a little bit more, or gained a level. And you know what? I think I'm gonna do like 2 more turns, and then I'll just call it a day with respect to. No ships here. You know what? Actually, I think I'm going to call it a day with respect to Endless Space right here. Oh, they're probably going to attack my main star system, and I do have 2 defenders here. Okay, you know what? We'll do 1 more set of combat. Make everyone in the universe pissed off at us. We'll do it automatically. And I assume we're gonna win. Yeah, huge victory. Lost 0 HP, dealt 1052. Awesome for me. Now everyone in the universe hates me. Let's just check our diplomacy quickly as this turn ends. And see how people feel about us. Still a Cold War, I guess. How do they feel? They're still neutral. Maybe news hasn't reached them yet. How about the green guys? How did they feel? Again, still neutral, so I guess, you know, they're more tolerant than I am. But anyway, let's exit out here. Make sure to save my game under a new name here. Is it secret? Is it safe? Question mark doesn't work. Cool, so we'll quit our game here and go back to the main menu. So this is Endless Space, but this is also our post-game scenario here. It looks like I wasn't doing so hot with respect to my AI opponents, which is fine. It seems like the game is fairly difficult so far. I haven't been able to successfully, like, conquer an entire race of aliens or people so far. But yeah, this is Endless Space, still very much a work in progress in alpha, and I'm gonna try to take a look at this when it gets closer to release or when it actually comes out, because I'm very intrigued by this so far. You know, like I said, I've already sunk maybe half a dozen hours into this so far, probably closer to like 4.5 or 5 hours, and I'm really enjoying it so far. And maybe, you know, 4 or 5 hours is a little bit too early to judge detailed, dense strategy game like this, because it's possible that, you know, get into the late game and it's like, oh, once you get nukes, it doesn't matter, you can just take out anybody easily. But right now it seems fun, honestly intellectually stimulating in a game in a way that most games aren't, at least most games that I've played recently. And really cool. I really like the aesthetic. Nothing but good things to say about this game except for the fact that there is a huge learning curve, and, you know, if I actually turned tutorial on, you would see a tutorial screen, like a page long, pop up every single time I clicked on something for the first time, which is kind of daunting for new players. Like, when I first got into it, it probably took me a good, like, half hour, 45 minutes to even understand what the hell I was doing. But anyway, this is the single-player alpha of Endless Space. Really interested to see where things go from here, particularly with respect to the multiplayer, because, man, I don't know how many people are going to be down for like a 25-hour game of Endless Space, or how you're even going to organize that, but hopefully they got good things in the works. Yeah, like I said, now available to play the alpha if you pre-purchase the game on Steam. I believe it's $25. It might be $22.50 if the sale is still going on, but definitely, this has my interest. It's piqued my interest through this alpha, and I'm looking forward to seeing where this goes. But as always, thank you guys for watching, and I will see you next time.